Hello and welcome to a brand new extra special episode of Tender Loving Care with your host, myself, Pauline, and my darling Kate. Kate and I have decided we cannot not discuss the latest in the 90 Day Fiance franchise, 90 Day Fiance the other way. As you probably know, our podcast, Tender Loving Care, which is available on all podcasting platforms, has a new episode each Wednesday. And in that podcast, we break down 2 shows from the TLC network, past or present, and deep dive and discuss the glorious chaos. We have decided to watch even more TLC and get on the new season of The Other Way. We release it as some more content for you, our beautiful trash TV loving listeners. Kate, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Kate, living the dream. First of all, we need to discuss that you are now in different digs. I'm looking at you in a different situ. You had discussed last week that you were moving. Was it a good move?
It was a pretty smooth move.
Good.
I moved apartments in my same complex, which
Love it.
really worked out for the best. I was looking for new apartments. I applied to different ones, didn't get them. And then my landlord was like, "Do you want to renew your lease?" And I was like, I'm so glad I had the foresight to be like, "Well, do you have any better ones than what I have?" And she did. And so I got to stay in I love my little neighborhood, and it's such an upgrade. So I'm so happy.
Oh, well, guys, I can see it and it looks delish. So you are now getting your poddy from a different location. Kate, I will say Kate and I had a little chat about her moving and stuff like that. And obviously Kate always goes in Sages and Palo Santo and things like that. But I also gave her another couple of tips of moving in and protecting it from, negative energies, spirits, demons. And I realized that obviously that just comes second nature to me, but also because I do have a new podcast obsession.
Oh no, what is it?
Okay. It's gone from bad to, oh, Polly. All right. So everyone knows I was having my Dateline obsession. So my Dateline podcast, just brilliant. Basically, it's just the Dateline episodes of audio. It's just the audio and they put it on a podcast and they had 1 billion episodes. May have gone through them all. So I'm like, okay, now I need something. And you go to the suggested. By the way, if you see what my suggested podcasts are, they're dark. They're either dark, they're a mix of like blood, gore, horror, true crime, kids that kill, or like reality TV shows. And then this one popped up and I went, oh, I'll give it a go. And it is, let me get this pulled up on my phone. So the show is, I'd heard about the show. It's on the Travel Channel. Don't know why shows all made it to the Travel Channel. And it's called The Dead Files. Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
It is so good. So it's basically the show and it's just the audio is just shoved in a podcast. So I'd never watched it before because there's so many paranormal, but it's a guy who, by the way, his title and intro literally makes my heart sing. He's like, hey, I can do some accent work here. Hey, I'm a retired New York City homicide detective, and I go and I work with blah, 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 who's a spiritual medium, and we talk to the dead.
I just got transported to New York.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And by the way, he doesn't open by saying, hey, what's going on over here? No, but
eating pizza and solving crime.
It's over here's over there's. No, give me my coffee. No, he's an literally that title, a retired New York City homicide detective. If I ever go to a dinner party and I meet someone with that title, I'll marry them, anything. I will, it's a dream dinner party guest for me. But he is like a hardened detective. And on this show, God knows how this show came about, but it's him and another woman called Amy Adams. No, not Amy Adams, Amy Allen. That's it. She's taken a strange turn in her career.
Hard left.
Amy Allen. And Amy Allen is a psychic and medium. And what happens is the, hey, cop goes into, someone will come in and say, listen, there are severe hauntings, and it can range from, your house to your house to maybe somewhere they work. We had like a hairdressers where there was seriously volatile stuff going on. There was a woman who filmed a movie in an abandoned prison, and she found a hat. Here's a clue, guys, don't do this. She found a hat in the premises and took it home because she thought it was cool. It's like a baseball hat. And she said, from then on, my life has been torture. She says, I have ulcers. I got extremely ill out of nowhere. People in my house were getting ill. She says, I am haunted by these dreams. I can't sleep. There's people in my room. It's insane. So what the detective does is, first of all, he does his New York detective work, and he goes in with the person that's asked for help. So if it was your home, he'd meet up with you and he interviews you. And honestly, you hear him. He obviously is a detective, but his questioning is not softball. Like, he's like, you got to tell me the truth here, because there was one kid that you went in to interview, and he's like, he was only 18 years old, and he's like, I can't sleep anymore. This is my parents' house, and there's stuff going on here, and I don't know what to do. And he's like, what did you do? And the kid's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, have you ever interacted with the dead? And the guy's like, well, I did do a seance. And the detective is like, you're not telling me the truth. He goes, I spent X amount of years in New York City. He goes, I know when someone's lying. And the kid's like, well, we've done like 17 seances here. And they were playing around with the dead. And he goes, okay. And then what he does is, before he interviews them, then he goes into, like, say it was a residential house, and he would take all identifying things off the wall, whether it's family photos, whether it's anything to give a clue of who's living there or anything historic, whatever, covers it all up, takes it off. And then Amy goes in and does her walk. And then the dead start appearing to her. And a majority of the time, she kind of describes what she's feeling, what she's seeing. And then at the end, they compare. And she's a sketch artist as well, that she'll say, there's a man in front of me and he looks like this. Sketch artist does it. And then they show it to the person at the end. It's so good.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
This is
So, I
different.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been on for a while, and people probably listening to this have probably heard of the Dead Files, but it is great to listen to, whether you're gardening, walking around, doing your laundry, whatever you're doing. It's a great show, but there is some dark shit on there, though, I'm telling you.
Ooh. Okay.
Anyway, so because of that, I'm just like, let's protect our space, salt, salt, salt. But apart from that, I've been busy listening to that. And right now, like, I am in a situ where all I wanted today, Kate. Now, I don't know. I haven't been to fast food places, like, drive-through places, long time, right?
Mhm.
All I wanted today was some McDonald's fries and a Diet Coke.
Oh,
And Kate, I am sat in my bed right now. It's still light outside, but I am sat in my bed, cozy, talking to you about reality TV shows with a little McDonald's Diet Coke, and it is a dream.
that is so good. The Diet Coke, because I'll tell you, I just had
Love
the bottle, which is my least favorite way to drink Diet Coke. I like a crisp cold can if I can't have fountain.
Yes.
Bottle in a dire moment, I obviously will have a bottle.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What are your thoughts on this is controversial. What are your thoughts on Coke Zero?
I am okay with it. If I have the choice, I'll do diet. I will drink Coke
Yeah.
Zero if it's there and it's all I can have.
See, I love a Coke Zero. Love a Coke Zero. And I would even dare to say above a Diet Coke. And there's a Coke Zero cherry. Oh, and I'm okay with that in a bottle.
I had that, I think, when I was visiting and staying with you. That was good.
I like it, Kate. I like it a lot, my Coke Zero.
I never get the plain Coke regular, but went out for tacos the other night with my partner and had a Mexican Coke out of a glass bottle. Amazing. So it's
now it's always a choice when you want to get the full fat Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I will never forget a time in LA that I apparently was completely unaware that this was so passé, or such a faux pas, I would say. I was in college and I was in journalism, we were in the newsroom, and I'd gone to the cafeteria and I bought a Coca-Cola. And I walked into the newsroom, and it was similar to, the scene in a movie when someone walks into the local town bar and the music like scratches and everyone turns around. But no, my friend at the time, she turned around and she literally looked at me in disgust. She's like, "You got a full fat Coke?" It was as though I had just killed her firstborn. I was like, yeah. She's like, whoa. I was like, well, okay. So that was when I first learned that apparently, we have that on a treat, but that is a good treat. And as they call it, like the Mexican Coke,
Mhm.
that is the Coca-Cola that we have in England. That's an English. There is a massive difference between Coca-Cola in England and Coca-Cola here because we use cane sugar like the Mexican Coke, and that's why it's different and it's so good.
Okay, yeah, it's way, way better than
Mm.
regular plastic bottle Coca-Cola
No, we're
here.
not doing that. We're not
No,
doing that. We're
no.
not doing that. But like sometimes if I'm out at a restaurant, I'm not having a martini. I'll think, you know what? I'm not really a dessert person. I'm gonna have a full fat Coke, and I always enjoy it. Always enjoy it.
Yeah, you deserve a little treat.
Little treat. All right, so I've got my Diet Coca-Cola. We have Trash TV.
Yep.
So, Kate, we are on episode 9.
9.
A beautiful thing is never perfect. Hey,
Ah,
now we didn't have Strange Beautiful this week. It's
no.
okay we didn't have Strange Beautiful because there was a lot to get into with the other ones.
Yeah.
We had Jenna Rishi, lot of heavy Nicole and Mahmoud,
Mhm.
Danielle and Johan, definitely Isabel and Gabe, and then we had Jamie and Chris. So we had 4, we had a lot of those, but it was just Strange Beautiful, Debbie and Osama that we didn't have this week.
They're coming back next week though,
Yes.
I think with some good scenes. So that was good to see them in the preview at least.
Yeah. Who do you want to start with, love?
Let's do Chris and Jamie.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a
What was,
ton.
what was the opening scene with those two?
It's their wedding day
Oh,
and
right. Right.
so they're heading to the not chapel, I don't know, hotel.
I didn't, yeah, it was some resort hotel or something. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I fast forwarded quite a bit of this
Oh,
because
okay.
I didn't think there was going to be a lot of drama, and I didn't think there was a lot of her coming in and saying, "Oh, my sick baby." So I was like, it's just going to be vows and how much they love each other, and that's not what I'm here for. So what happened, Kate?
Okay, so the segment started with it was a lot of Chris telling the camera, you know, and I want to bring this up to you. Don't you feel like the voice that she uses in her confessionals is so put on and strangely, I have a hard time describing it, but it's sort of like, and I just love her so
That's a
much.
that's a very good observation because I'm not going to be able to like unhear that now because you're right. It's a slower you're right, it's an affected type to assure us all how in love she is with her.
It reminds me of when you're younger in middle school or something and you're starting to have friends over for the first time and your parents kind of put on this voice of like, "Well, welcome
Always.
welcome to our household." And you're like, "Who are
Absolutely.
you?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of. It's this sort of like, I'm putting my best voice forward here and I want to be come across a certain way.
It's true.
So anyways, she tells us, after the setback of me maybe having to go back to the States for the lawsuit or the court appearance,
Mm-hmm.
and, all this neck pain I've been having, um, we just, after all that we've been through, we are here and we made it. And I'm so happy to be getting married. And I was like, okay. Uh,
Can we also remind ourselves that this is them that their preparation for marriage is as follows. They have been talking for, can't remember the exact date, let's say 2 years online. First time they've met, and also Chris didn't speak to Jamie and vanished for like 3 months, and they've been in each other's presence for 9 days, and this is their prep for marriage.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember
Sounds
if it was
great.
like a month or 3. Was it 3 months she disappeared or was it a month? I can't remember either.
I'd
Well,
like it. Yeah, it was a long period of
it was
time.
a period of time.
Yeah.
So she meets, we find out that she met remember those two friends, those guy
Yes.
friends of
Yeah.
Jamie's? So they come in to say hi to her while she's getting ready, Chris, and she's hugging them like they're old friends. And she goes, oh, I met them. I was able to meet them last night. And they now understand that I'm not leaving Jamie again. I'm not going to disappear on
Uh,
her. And I'm like,
I,
do they know that? They met you for a couple hours.
um,
And they are the only people at this wedding, these two friends
wow.
in person. They have
There was
Jamie.
the daughter Star. I remember
Yeah.
Star.
She was going to come, but then her exam schedule got changed for she's in
Well,
college or whatever, so she couldn't come. She probably also just didn't want to come.
sure.
I'm just guessing, but
Sure, sure. Sure, sure.
that would be me anyway. Be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I have a test. So her kids are on the Skype, and then her mother, and then
Oh.
some of Jamie's friends or family are on there as well. But in person,
Uh,
it's just her two guy friends.
wow.
And
Okay.
Chris is wearing her mother's wedding dress from 50 plus years ago and a flower crown. And I want to say I did think she looked lovely. She was
Good. I like to hear that.
she was doing a vintage look, and then Jamie looked very modern and fresh. And
Love
they
that.
they looked very beautiful and happy on this day. To me, I was like, this is the calm before the storm because we know
Oh,
there's stuff coming. So
hey, it's so funny you just brought that up about how long were they, did she vanish for? Because we've been teased, not only as we've mentioned a couple of times on here, the production van fight, which I'm itching for it. It is a screaming match where one of them is running into a production van. So that we have to see. But also, we were teased with, oh, she's probably gonna have to go back to Alabama for this court case. And then we actually did see footage of her in America Skyping or FaceTiming with Jamie and Jamie saying, Chris, I haven't heard from you in a month. So what we need to get into this, guys. TLC, like, come on, I don't want to see the vows and how much they love each other. Let's get to the fighting.
what is the truth? So it was an episode of love, smooth sailing, no problems
Wah,
for them.
wah.
They're crying. I want to be with you until I take my last breath.
I'll
That's
take
her
my last
vow.
breath.
And
Until I take my last Xanax.
she
Sorry.
said, or, and she said that she didn't care that the ceremony was all in Spanish. Couldn't understand a word of it. It's like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to hear it because I can feel it.
What about assets? What about a prenup? What about the
Oh,
legality of getting married over there as opposed to America? Anyone want to talk about that?
wait. Did you see the preview? What's coming up for them next episode?
No, what? Oh my God, the
They're
van!
they're starting a business. They're starting a food truck together. I can't with where's the
Okay.
capital coming from? This is so insane.
We see this preview, and Kate and I's favorite is a 90-day fiance couple that wants to go into business together. It's beautiful disaster. So yeah, you see them going up to this decrepit old American yellow school bus falling apart, and Chris going, oh my God, this is so great.
Because there's
And
ammo hanging off the seat.
it's disgusting. There are people there are people asleep on the chairs in there, and she's like, oh my God. Anyway, and then they sit down and the guy's like, this is $20,000. So I that's what we need to get into. First of all, this is the first time we've heard about this food truck business. They've been in person for 9 days, they've already got married. Why not do this? It's cuckoo.
Can't spend $100 more on rent per month. We
Yeah.
can, on a whim,
Yeah.
buy a school bus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, why not? Sure, why
Makes
not?
sense. Makes sense.
Absolutely.
So that was them. And let's go to how about
Who's next? Who's next?
our next couple will be let's do Gabe and
Yeah.
Isabel.
Gabe and Isabel, this was kind of repetitive. It was an important episode for them, but I felt like the scenes were really repetitive and drawn out. Essentially, we'd left them last week with Isabel and Gabe informing Isabel's parents that he was a trans man. And it was kind of left like, are they going to accept him? Are they not? And they're beautiful people. And we saw them say, well, the true essence of, I think, being a person that believes in a higher power is what they said, is that God is love and that we don't judge anyone. And I was like, boom, exactly. If everyone could have that calls themselves Christian or calls themselves religious, it would be beautiful. Because they were like, that's just what it is. They were shocked. They didn't suspect. They didn't really know. They asked a couple of questions, and then they had this lovely scene where they were hugging, and Gabe was like, great, and Isabel was relieved. Then they kind of dragged out over and over, and then we went to another scene though, where they were shopping. Was it for fabric? I don't know what they were shopping for. I don't
Oh
know.
no, are you talking about with the mom?
Yeah, with a mum.
I think that maybe that's her job. She's a seamstress, maybe,
Oh,
because I saw a sewing machine and they were talking about uniforms she was making or stitching.
got it.
So yeah, she goes in to talk to her mom about it.
About marriage. I think that's what it was. And the mother was essentially just like, well, what about waiting? And they kind of made it more dramatic. I don't know if the mother was saying, you need to wait because how well do you guys really know each other? Because he's just moved down here and she does have 2 children. It's a huge thing to ask someone to become a stepdad. And so the mother kind of said that, and that was about, am I missing anything? I know I'm glossing over it really quickly, but I just felt
there was a really lovely scene with Gabe and the kids at the ceramics studio.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So Gabe took the kids to go. It was one of those little activities where you paint the glaze onto an already made
Oh, like Color
bowl
Me
or
Mine?
yeah, like a color me mine. And um he was drawing a ring on a little plate, and it's the plate that he's going to present the wedding ring on, and then there's a little lid that goes over it. And he says that he wanted to include the kids and basically ask for their blessing and
Lovely.
make them feel like a part of it. And it was so nice. They hugged him and said, we love you. And he said, oh, do you have any advice for me marrying your mom? And the teenage daughter is so cute. She's like, oh, have a lot of patience and,
Yeah.
listen to everything she says. And it's just really cute. And so
Good.
he is going to propose pretty soon, and the kids are going to be there as well.
Got it. Because I know we saw in a preview next week that Gabe asks Isabel's dad for like permission, I guess, or not permission, but blessing and doing the kind of traditional thing. I know we see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's never speak too soon when it comes to 90 Day, but I think it's going to be smooth sailing.
Yeah.
I think that Isabel's dad is going to be like, fine. I think they're going to get married. But if that's the case, TLC, I want you to show us this. Absolutely. It's a success. Wrap it up, move on. Because we have so much drama when it comes to Strange Beautiful. We haven't even met, Debbie hasn't even met the parents yet. We don't know. She hasn't fallen off the donkey yet. We have so much going on there. We're going to have Chris and Jamie blowing up at each other. We have Danielle and Johan. Johan's going to kill this friend of Danielle's. We have Nicole and Mahmoud running around Egypt. Like, there's a lot of good situs to get into. Jen and Rishi, I mean, we can't even start. There's too much. So if Gabe and Isabel are going to be smooth sailing, fine, but they're gonna have to exit early because we don't have time for the good ones.
It's nice to have them peppered in here and there, the good couples, just to restore our faith in humanity again after we watch certain people. Ed. But yeah, I agree. Let's wrap it up. Let's move on. We want to see what we came here to see.
Exactly. What we pay good subscription money for Peacock or Discovery or whatever it's on. I don't know what it is. Okay, so yeah, that was kind of everything. So I think I feel like next week they're going to maybe get a little bit of a break because we've got so much to get in with the other ones. Yeah. Let's go to, I want to save Jen and Rishi for last. Let's get into Danielle and Johan.
Perfect. So she's now living in the DR. in the apartment with her 20 suitcases.
The first scene we see, and you know I love my Danielle. I love her so much because I just want to squeeze her. She's just obsessed with how small she is. Anyway, so she's in there and she's unpacking just these mountains of clothes. And the first thing she pulls out of a suitcase is a license plate, her New York car license plate. And she's like, by the way, I'm surprised she has a car in New York. Most New Yorkers don't. I found that really strange anyway. But anyway, she picks up the license plate, and she's like, oh, well, I was supposed to mail this before I left. I wonder if the Dominican Republic have post boxes or mailbox. What do you call them? Mailboxes.
I
What
wrote
do you?
that
What do
down.
you? Sorry, you're a teacher, Danielle. I just want to understand that you are a teacher, and you're asking if the Dominican Republic has mail. Just got
No,
it.
they send everything by carrier pigeon.
Absolutely.
By
Smoke signals,
toucan.
carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
Now, what we didn't get clarification of is we see them in this apartment, and this apartment, Kate, I thought it looked similar to the one that they had looked at that had a load of expats. It was like 2,000 American dollars a month. But we didn't get clarification. All she says is Johan picked out the apartment, but I don't think we're going to stay here long term. That's kind of all we got in the apartment, right?
Yeah, they didn't give us a tour by any means. It was just her against the wall. So I wasn't really sure, but I assume if he picked it out, it probably wasn't the expensive one, but it did look nice. I don't know.
It did. And of course he wasn't paying, because we get to the scene where she comes out there and they're chatting. And by the way, still Danielle is saying in the confessional, she's like, we haven't really talked, we do need to get finances sorted out and how much he's going to contribute. Danielle, he's already told you. At this point, it's not his fault, because he's come forward and said, I have no money and I'm not going to give you any money. You have to pay for everything.
Right.
And you moved down there.
Yeah,
but
I think he's pretty straightforward about things, honestly, even if it's not a great opinion that he has, or he pretty much says what it is.
He does. And they're sat there, they're talking about stuff, and then the lights go out, and she's like, why did they go out? She said that was oh well, we'll get to they did have a reading as well, but yeah, the apartment, the lights go out. She says, see, that was Dios, that was God. And he goes, you have to pay the electricity bill. And she's like, why didn't you let me know we had to do this? He's like, did I? But you have to pay it. There's no shame. There's not an ounce of shame with them.
Just tells it like
he is awful. He's awful.
She does some annoying things in this episode too, I thought. So later, not the reading. So yeah, what is this part? I was kind of distracted during this.
Is, and I keep forgetting to write down the faith that Danielle follows, because it's not iftar, it's something I was reading about it after one of the episodes. It's really interesting, but she follows this religion that is not very well known. And we met Baba before, which is her spiritual leader, and then she has a spiritual mentor as well that led her into this religion. And she follows this religion, and as we've seen her before at the Botanica and like doing a lot of spiritual kind of blessings and things like that, we meet Baba, and Baba is going to give a reading to Johan. So they're on Skype, and Baba, and part of the way he reads is he has a chain with knots in it, and he's reciting something, and then the way the chain lands dictates what he has to say to the person he's reading. And so he starts telling Johan that he needs to not eat mushrooms, and he could choke on a fishbone. That was about it. They said that he has problems, like he has to watch his throat, that he may choke, and that was kind of it in the reading.
It kind of reminds me, do you have that app CoStar?
No, I remember everyone talking about CoStar. I remember that
on this. So it's an astrology app, right? For anyone who doesn't know, and every day it says do's and don'ts. Like, let me pull mine up really quick because
really,
it's so seemingly random. Which
you know what? I might have to download that after this. It's
Yeah,
like
it's interesting. You can see other people's full charts and then it tells you your compatibility in all the different areas. It's interesting to look at with people you
I
know.
remember Co-Star. Yeah.
So I'm loading mine up right now.
It'd be like, do a podcast. Don't not do a podcast.
So today mine says, do cotton, broad strokes, decompress, don't, hot takes, nitpick, strong sense.
Okay, literally two of the three of this podcast of what you should be doing today.
I won't light a candle, I guess. But yeah,
Yes.
it's seemingly random. But anyway, that's what it reminds me of. Just kind
Yeah,
of like, don't eat this. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
because she was told the famous thing she was supposed to plant a banana tree or a banana when she went over there the first time. And it's what came out of this, they kind of have it, and and Johan was open to it. But she says, I'm glad you're open and we're not on the, what do you think about joining the religion? He's like, whoa, I have my own religion, whatever. Then she says something that's so interesting, Kate, in the confessional. And this had really blown me away. She said, we've only known each other for a year. And in a year, they've got married and she's moved her entire life down there. And I know in the scheme of things, you'll say, well, you look at Jamie and Chris, that isn't a lot. But for some reason, Daniel and Johan, I thought, were a lot longer. But she just traveled to the Dominican Republic, met him at the hotel, and then has gone back and forth to Dominican Republic so many times, has been on 2 TV shows about their love, got married to him, and now she's moved down there, and she's done that in a year.
Really?
So she said, and I was like, did I hear that right? It
I
was
thought
a
that they
year.
knew each other longer than a year.
That's what I thought. Maybe I misheard that, but I swear she was like in a year of knowing each other, because she seemed that she met him on holiday. Then she was in Love in Paradise.
When did we watch that?
Definitely was filmed 2022.
Okay.
And I would say this, if this is airing now, this was probably filmed at the end of 2022. And maybe Love in Paradise was the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
That's probably what I think. But I was just like, whoa, these two are a lot. And I forget Johan's only 32. Anyway, so because they go up their anniversary. Yeah, that's how I know it is.
It says they tied the knot in November 2021.
21. Okay. So maybe it's a year. If they were filming it in November 2022, that would be a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
Because
talking. I'll find this.
they go
I'm
out for their
curious.
year anniversary. We see that. And they're like, it's our anniversary. We're going to go out. And they go out to eat dinner. And then they start a conversation, which is the worst thing to start on an anniversary dinner. She says, I'm okay with you. Are you okay with me having friends that are men? Yeah. You need to be okay with me having friends that are women. And she's like, of course, you can go out with your female friends. No, Johan, no. And he's like, okay. And then she goes swiftly on to, by the way, my friend's in town. And it turns out it's a guy that she used to date. And he's visiting the DR. And they get into this horrible argument on their anniversary dinner about her going to see him. And he's like, it's disrespectful. I don't want you to go and do that. I don't want you to go and hang out with him. And she's like, but it's with me and you. And he's like, you used to date him. I don't want you to go and see him. Why do you need to see him? And that was their anniversary dinner.
Yeah, I didn't. It's not so much that she wants to see him and feels like she should be able to be friends with her ex and everything. It's the way that she phrases it and presents it. And then she goes back on what she said. So
In what way?
so she says to him, because he's like, when did you talk to him and how did you talk to him? She says, yesterday he messaged me on Instagram.
Oh,
And she says, oh, well, I told him I'm married, so I need to check with my husband. And if it's
yeah.
okay with him, it's okay with me. And she
Yeah.
presents it like, is it okay with you? If
Yeah.
it's not, no problem, I won't go. And then
Yeah.
when it's not okay with him, Then she fights tooth and nail. Well, why? And it's not weird in my country to do this. And she just goes on and has all these reasons.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if that's how you feel, then present it that way at first. Don't be like, oh, well, I want to respect how you feel. And if you're not comfortable with it, then I won't. And that's what I told him.
Yes.
And he's like, okay,
Yes.
I'm not comfortable with it. And she's like, well, why? And is stomping her feet. So I don't know. I think it's just the presentation of it that kind of bothered me.
It is. And it was just like ended up being like this horrible dinner. And so then we finished that. And then do we see anything more from them, or is it just what's coming up next week?
That was that scene. Yeah.
That's it. So we learned with Danielle and Johan this week, she forgot to return her license plates. He cannot eat mushrooms and he may choke on fish bones. And she wants to see her ex-boyfriend. And we already know that the ex-boyfriend's going to appear because production showed photos of the ex-boyfriend. So we're like, oh, he's in. He's in. His image is for use. So that's going to be interesting next week. I want them to talk more about, like, I want them to talk. Wait, we haven't seen the butcher shop in a while. We need to see what's going on with the butcher shop.
Yeah.
We need to find out if they're actually planning to have a baby. That's all been forgotten about as well. Danielle just seems to just let it go. Just go with the flow, man. Just go with the flow.
She says, oh, if this kind of thing is going to bother him, me hanging out with my ex, then, we're going to have a lot of problems our entire relationship. And it's like, why?
Well,
Why do you insist on being with someone that you fight with every day?
nothing. No, there's no forethought. There's just no forethought in anything. It's like, maybe. We'll see how it goes. Talking of no forethought, let's go over to Egypt. Now, last week was a big one because we saw Mahmoud and Nicole get in a terrible fight. Mahmoud left her at the hotel. Then we see Mahmoud's brother, and we just see Nicole still just sat like a frail little bird in the hotel lobby. And she's like, I'm here, and I don't even know how to get home, and I just have my cell phone, blah, blah, blah. Mahmoud's brother is with Mahmoud and saying, listen, you can't leave your wife in the middle of nowhere. Like, you need to go back and get her. And I mean, his brother just was such a shining star this episode. And he goes, come on, you need to go and get her. So he goes and he's telling her, he's like, listen, she's come to this country. We want her to love this country. And you're making it miserable for her. You need to teach her the ways and the culture because she doesn't know. She's an immigrant. She's foreign. She doesn't know these things. You need to teach her. And you can't leave her alone, and you need to treat her like a queen. You need to make sure she's your priority. And just these wonderful things. And he is speaking to something he knows so much about because his wife is originally from China. And we find out so much more about him this week. And I really love him. So he's like, stop being a boy and blah, blah, blah. They go back and he reveals something. He's like, Mahmoud's never had a girlfriend. He doesn't know women. And I'm like, this all makes a lot of sense.
Also, he doesn't get out much or know much about anything. He said he is at home and he goes to work. That's all he's ever done. He's never dated anyone. And I was like, okay.
We got so much clarity. So then we go and we see Mahmoud's brother sit down with Nicole and say, listen, you tell me what's going on. I want to fix this for you. I want to fix this. Forget him. He needs to listen to you and he needs to do what's right. And it really helped Nicole a lot. And it was lovely. He goes, you're my sister now. You're my sister. And she said that really made me feel included and all of this. Then he goes, all right, you two, you need to talk. So Mahmoud sits down. Within 5 minutes, they're like, yeah, we definitely need to get divorced. Fine, I'm going to go and get my stuff. I'm going. And then Mahmoud's brother comes back and goes, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Like, this is silly. This is ridiculous. And somehow, like, it's just, look, I know what it's like. I'm sure everyone listening to this knows what it's like. You're in a relationship. Your gut knows it's not right. You should just get out of it. And these are relationships where we haven't moved countries for. So Nicole is sat there and everything is just going, this is never going to work out long term. It's just never, ever going to work out. Everyone can see it. You know it in the pit of your tummy, that feeling at night. You know it's wrong. He knows it's wrong. Yet we just keep putting a plaster over it, a Band-Aid on it. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keeps it another sorry. Then tomorrow's another argument. Then it's another makeup. Then it's another argument. This isn't living. This isn't a relationship.
She's exhausted to the
No,
bones. You can see
I
it in her
know.
face.
I know.
And so, yeah, the brother Ahmed, I think, right? Ahmed,
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
he is, you're right, the MVP of this whole family.
Wonderful.
He's the oldest, I believe. And you can tell he has so much more emotional intelligence
Yeah.
than Mahmoud. And at first I was like, okay, he's simplifying the problem. And I still think that maybe he doesn't understand the depths of their
Sure.
issues and how bad it can get between them. Cause he's very much like, oh, we can solve this. Let's go home,
Yeah.
go to bed, and you'll be fine tomorrow. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think they will. But I
Yeah.
appreciated him smoothing it over and making her feel more comfortable because she's all alone in this country. And her husband's being a jerk the whole time.
Yeah.
So eventually he's like, come on, just stand up and say you're sorry to her. And he's like, oh, don't make me. He really is like a little boy. And he stands up. He's like, I'm sorry, my love. And she's like, okay. And I'm tired. Let's go to bed. So then they go the next night or soon after, they go to like a cafe to play backgammon and have tea or whatever with Ahmed and his wife and their kid.
Love
And
her. Love her. What I mean,
they're a great couple. Yeah.
they are a couple that deeply respect each other, that love each other. And that woman standing there, I'm thinking, she knows 3 languages. You know how I'm just obsessed with people that are fluent. Like it's just such an amazing skill to have.
Yeah.
She's whether she speaks, whether it's Mandarin, I believe, or Cantonese, I'm not sure, and Arabic fluently and English fluently. I'm just like,
Incredible.
she's amazing. She's great. They're all playing games. The child's there who looked like a lovely little girl, very polite, just having it, just I love seeing children like that. And they were playing, and there was an essence like I was watching Nicole and I was like, we definitely feel sorry for her a little bit because of everything she's going through, but also there you can see she's eager for it to work, but she's not being realistic. She's smiling and she's like, oh, it's so nice, this is something we can do together. And then Ahmed was like, well, I remember when, because it was revealed he lived in China for a while with his wife's parents. That was really interesting. And he said, and I had tequila, and they were all kind of laughing about that. And Ahmed's wife was like, I don't really like wearing the scarf either, but whatever. And they were all kind of giggling and they had this rapport and it was nice. And you looked at Nicole and she was like, okay, maybe this will work. Maybe this will work, but it's not going to work.
No,
It's not. It's not.
this was a brief moment of peace in an otherwise turbulent and doomed relationship.
A doomed relationship. Did we get a next week with those two? I don't think we did we?
Let me see. I don't think so. Yeah, the last note I have is that the brother and his wife are able to merge cultures and change things in their lives for each other without resenting
Yeah.
each other because they have actual love between them.
They do, and there was there was a respect, and it was very interesting because he had gone over to China as well. So I think that helped a lot,
Mahmoud was shook that his brother had had tequila.
I mean, he's just a very, as Ahmed said, just a very naive, knows nothing about the world, just knows nothing about the world.
I didn't peg Nicole to be a beer girl.
I know, I was very interested in that, but she could, because she's so tiny that she just shares a beer, or maybe, oh no, I guess that's American term, share a beer with my dad. It means like drink a beer while he's drinking. Yeah, I wouldn't see her doing that. I wouldn't see her doing that either. But she's surprising us, Kate.
At every turn.
Every turn.
That was
So that were those two. I don't know if we might get a break. I think we'll get a break from them next week because we had 2 heavy episodes of those two. Who we won't get a break from, and I'm very happy to hear, Jen and Rishi. Right. We are back in Oklahoma. We see Jen on the working on the farm girl. She revealed she's been back in Oklahoma from India for 3 months. They have reinstated her 10-year visa. God knows how she got any of that done. I can't believe it. Anyway, she's got it done. She is about to head back to India, And you know, she's there in the farm, and we see her packing and talking to her parents, and then she's on Skype, and she's Skyping with her two good friends. By the way, where do these friends live that she has to Skype them? Because she's not going to see them. I guess they're out of town, aren't they? They came into
Maybe,
that town
or
one time.
yeah, she seems to have lived a lot of places. Maybe they're,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So she's chatting with them, and remember, this is the girl that had done the catfishing for Rishi before Jen left for India. And she said, you know, she communicated with him, and he had kind of been like, "Where do you live?" And a little bit flirty, a little bit inappropriate, definitely inappropriate. And so Jen's like, "Well, guys, got my visa reinstated. I am heading back to India. I'm heading back to be with Rishi." Then the friend lets her know. She didn't tell her before she got on the plane, but really moments, days before she got on the plane to go to India the first time, Rishi responded to the DMs. He responded with a photograph of him half naked in a towel, plus a conversation which we did not see, which I'm kind of angry about. I wanted to see the conversation because the friend said he asked, "When are you coming to?" She said, "I'm coming to Jaipur." And he said that they could meet up. Then, but we didn't see that. We only saw the photo because the friend said then somehow he found out I was your friend, but she was using a catfishing account. That doesn't make sense. And he blocked me. I thought that part of the story didn't make sense to me.
I think that kind of thing can be figured out. She was probably
Yeah.
on the fake account liking Jen's photos or
Yeah,
something.
true. Wasn't a
Something dumb.
sophisticated catfishing.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
wasn't like we would do.
exactly. Exactly. Now, explain to me your reaction, Kate, to Jen's reaction when she sees this.
At first, I was pleasantly surprised that she was having the correct reaction, which is she tells us, "I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted." And then about 5 minutes later, or 5 seconds later, I was disappointed again because she goes, "But I just can't cut it off right now because I gotta go back and talk to him in person." And I don't know. We'll see. I at first was like, "Oh, maybe," and no.
No. I'm I cannot put my finger on her facial expressions. And we delve into this a little bit in the last episode. It's as though what did I say here? It's as though she is acting. This is my notes. When she says, so she's being shown, she's holding the camera up, and she's like, look, this is what Rishi sent me. And she's like, "Wait, when was this?" And her facial expressions are, wow, like I'm acting the part of how somebody behaves if they're shocked and upset. Like, I can't put my finger on her very, very odd. Her whole facial expressions are bizarre, but her way of speaking, her tone, I think what I gathered is she's a very, very, very insecure woman. She does not have a lot of self-confidence. She cannot articulate herself properly, and probably never has in relationships with men. And even in this situation, she's just like, wow, man. And I'm like, what? I can't make head and tails of her.
I think that I think she, at the same time she was reacting, was thinking about how she can spin this to them to still justify going.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Okay.
she's upset, but she's also like, "I'm still gonna go."
Yeah.
And so she's like,
You're
"How do
right.
what do I say?" And like, that's
You're
how I
right.
took it. And but yeah, her facial expressions themselves, she really kind of chews on her words and
Yeah, that's a good way of saying. She does. She chews it up, and you're going. There's not like it's everything's delayed by a couple of seconds, and it's as though you're right. She's thinking how, I don't know whether she's aware of the camera, or I just think she's never had a chance to articulate herself properly and can't. And so it's weird. Her reactions are really strange.
Sometimes, but then I think of the moment on the roof with him where
Yeah,
she was very clear. She was like, "Just
yeah,
be honest with me and tell
great.
me if you saw anyone in the past 2 years." Just tell me, because I just want to know. And
However,
she has those
his
moments.
but his reaction was the most non-committal. It was like, well, I mean, no, I mean, you know, no, I've just been working, but she doesn't pick him up on that. He doesn't even, he barely says no, barely
She
says
she
no.
just she just wants him to tell her what she wants to hear. She's going to be clear about it so that she can tell her friends, "Look, I asked him and he told me
Mm,
no." Cuz they're like, "Why do you trust this guy?" And she's like, "Well, he
yeah,
hasn't given me any reason to doubt him or think that he would have ever cheated on me." And her
God.
friends are looking at her like, "Are you for real?" So she ends up going. She's on the way there with her sister-in-law and telling her sister-in-law all about this shirtless photo. She shows her the photo. She says, "That's not even a swimsuit photo. He's naked in that photo." And this is a lot of red flags, understatement of the century. And so she ends up going anyways. And then we cut to a scene at the
Don't,
gym
don't. I
with
could have,
Rishi
I could
and
have put
his
my,
friend.
I could have put my fist through the screen and punched him. He sat there at this gym with this friend of his, this female friend who is brilliant. She calls him out completely,
Yeah.
asking him about, Jen coming over. So have you ever cheated? No, no, no. Well, when we go out to clubs, you always disappear and you're always surrounded by women and and he's smiling that entire time. Kate, I would have knocked him out.
I
I
think
would have,
with his eye, you could tell with his eyes, he was looking at her like, stop
yep,
talking.
yep. I would have knocked that guy out. He's like smiling and like, no. He's been cheating on Jen every single opportunity he's had. And God knows his on Instagram as well. This is just in person he's been cheating on her. Can you imagine on Instagram the amount of women he's speaking to?
Oh, everyone that talks to him.
And then the friend like has her confessional and she's like, no, I don't believe him. No, I don't believe he likes to go with women and that's who he is. I mean,
She's like, anyone in my position would feel the same way, that there's no way he hasn't been cheating on her. There's so much she wasn't even saying, and she
I
said a
know.
lot. She said a
And she
lot.
said that's a good, she said a lot. I mean, then Jen's going to go over. We'll see next week. That it's going to be a heavy Jen and Rishi episode next week. They go over and, she's going to confront him. I don't know how this confrontation is going to go down, but it's not going to be good. And I'm going to be frustrated at Jen because I feel as though she'll get angry, but he'll manipulate her. He's not a good guy. And you know what? All
No.
this bullshit. She was sat at that dinner table, sat with her parents before she went, right? And her mum and her brother leaving the farm in Oklahoma. And she said, well, they put out, plates of cookies on the dinner table. And she said, I'm I'm going because, he hasn't, he has spoken about going to tell his parents about us at some point. And when he proposed to me in the street last time, it was so romantic. No, it wasn't. And
And
what do you,
oh, Polly, don't forget he reproposed. He
yeah,
reproposed since she's been there, so that's a pretty big deal.
I
It's
I can't
sad.
imagine how frustrating that would be if that was someone you love doing that.
Yeah, those friends. The friend who
Oh,
catfished. Oh, she was mad, and her you could
good.
just
That's exactly how I would be. If you were
exactly.
doing this and you were heading off to India, I would be on a plane, I would be in the plane seat next to you. And I would be lecturing you the entire way. You'd have to get a restraining order against me because I wouldn't let you do it. I'd be like,
Yeah.
it's black and white. It's black and white what this guy is doing. He's cheating on you constantly. He's never going to tell his parents. You're never going to get the approval and you're never going to marry him. What more do you want, Jen?
Period. It
Wasting it.
was it was also very telling, I thought, that that Rishi's friend was like, and why haven't you told your parents? If I was dating someone and they wouldn't tell their parents about me, I would not want to be with them. She's coming all the way across the world, leaving her whole life, and you won't even tell your family about her. And I thought that was so telling because he presents it like, no, this is how it is for every family here. It's going to be so bad when I tell them. They're going to reject me. And did we see that, you know, with Sumit and Jenny? Yeah,
Hmm.
we did.
Hmm.
But it's not like that with every single
No,
family there. It's
no,
not. And I liked that she pointed that out.
I know. Oh, Jen. And
Oh,
of course,
Jen.
Jen's 10 years older than him. I mean, I forget all of that. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if he's got some girlfriend that we find out about as well, like a full long-term girlfriend. I wouldn't be
Really.
surprised by that either.
Me neither.
He is just a monster, and I'm worried about Jen. Does she annoy me? Yes, all the time, and I don't understand her face, but I just love Jen, and I'm annoyed with her, and I want her to get her shit together, and I want her out of there. But I feel like we're going to get to this reunion in it's probably being filmed now, or when, oh no, they film at the end of the season, I guess. So and she'll be saying the same stuff. She'll be seeing even worse stuff that he's done and still saying the same stuff.
The only couple that would frustrate me more if they were still together would probably be Nicole and Mahmoud because they're
Kate, they
just
are.
so, I
Kate,
mean,
I'm telling you, because remember when their Instagram and it was Valentine's Day of this year and both of them had posted, she doesn't post a lot and he doesn't post a lot, but she'd posted, Happy Valentine's Day to the love of my life, my husband. They're together.
did they have to post that for the show
Yeah,
or
I know. I know you don't know really.
uh, we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. It's this season is still it's very interesting to me. You know, some of the seasons kind of piddle out and they're not as fun to watch, but it's I'm
This
on
is
the edge of
going
my
and
seat.
going.
Yeah.
This is going and going. And of course, next week we'll get some more Strange Beautiful with Osama and Debbie, which we cannot wait to see because we got to meet mum and dad. We got to
R-
meet mum and dad.
right. And but not before we see him. He's reciting a poem for his
Oh,
Strange Beautiful. I believe that's what we saw in the preview. And
stop.
she's so taken by this. I saw someone online mentioned like what if it was a guy and a young girl, and I have to tell you it's kind of ruined them for me thinking of it that way. They were
If
like
it was a young girl in Morocco,
a 24-year-old young girl, and it was a how old is she? 67-year-old
look,
man. I was like, ooh, that would be a little
but when it comes to Debbie and Osama, they have their Strange Beautiful and they have their art and their poetry and their love. And they are magical. They are timeless with his fedoras and her statement necklaces. It's a love that transcends time.
okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll roll
Thank you.
with that for now.
Thank you. Guys, listen, before we go, we should have done this at the top of the show, but hopefully some of you are still listening. We need to let you know about our giveaway. We are releasing this show right now, tomorrow, today, which is the 4th of April, Tuesday, the 4th of April. We have a giveaway that is going to close at midnight on Thursday, this coming Thursday. If you are in the Los Angeles area, we have a set of tickets, one of which will be mine, to a very important show this coming Saturday in Los Angeles. Now, the show, guys, if you're fans, you listen to this of Vanderpump Rules, we all know the scandal. Tom Sandoval is performing at the Canyon Club this Saturday. Now, we are not fans of Tom. However, we are not going to bash him. We got our hands on a set of tickets, and we want to give away one of those tickets to one of you listeners in the LA area to come and meet me. That sounds like, oh, what a dream. Oh, meet me. Yes. Yeah, that's the lower end of this prize. Okay, it will be with me, unfortunately. You come meet me at the Canyon Club, and we have a Vanderpump Rules night. So we will go and bear witness to what's going to happen at the show, because I can guarantee you we're not going there to listen to Tom Sandoval. We are going there to be agents in the field. We are going there to see how the crowd reacts. This is his first LA performance since the scandal broke. So it's a free ticket. You're going to meet up with me at the Canyon Club. We will go and have a very, very good evening. All you have to do to qualify to get one of these tickets is go to our Patreon and become a member. Now, our Patreon, just to refresh your memory, is only $5 a month, 5 whole American dollars a month. With that, you get our 2 regular shows plus an extra show on our Patreon that's only available to Patreon members. It is covering Vanderpump Rules every week, and it is It's the live video of Kate and I recording the show. So it's not just audio. You're getting that. You're getting the 2 shows and 3 shows a week for $5 a month. Go to patreon.com. Check out put in Tender Loving Care podcast, sign up. As soon as we get your name and email, you will be put into the draw, which we will draw at by midnight on Thursday. We will notify you if you are a winner, and then we will go and have a rollicking good time in Los Angeles this coming Saturday, the 8th of April.
What a dream. I'm so jealous of whoever gets to go.
I know.
Nights out with Polly are the best.
Whoop, whoop. All right, guys. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to go to our Instagram, Tender Loving Care Podcast. Email us, tenderlovingcarepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you. We love you. Kate, any parting words?
We love you, strange, beautiful fans. Listeners.
Strange, beautiful. Bye, guys.
Bye.